Well, I am so grateful for Lisa and her team. What a beautiful morning of worship. The sun is shining outside, and we are blessed. We are blessed as the people of God. So about 20 years ago, Susan and I took a group of kids on a mission trip to New York. We had about 40 high school students and around eight adult leaders. And during that trip, we did some really cool things to help camp get ready to receive around 6,000 students over the summer. And so this was a spring mission trip, and we were getting that camp ready, and thousands of young people over the summer at this camp give their life to Jesus for the first time. It's a powerful ministry in New York State. And during that mission trip, we take a break in the middle of the week. And we take the kids into New York City, in Manhattan, because there's lots of great things to see, lots of culture, lots of museums. There's the Statue of Liberty, tours they can take, history of our country. There's a lot of rich history in New York, and a lot of that's related to the Dutch people. And I know we have a few Dutch folks in our fellowship. And so it's just a fun trip to take, an educational trip, and then we do some shopping while we're there, because shopping in New York City is unlike shopping anywhere else in the world. It's an experience. So we just want the kids to have a really fun day, because they're typically working so hard Monday and Thursday and Friday. And so on Wednesday we take the kids into the city. Now this was the first time around 20 years that Susan and I had been a part of this trip. There was a lady named Kathy. And Kathy had led this trip before. She knew what she was doing. She had all the details put together. And so we got on our bus, the camp where we were working. We rode into New Jersey. Because it's easier to park a bus in New Jersey than it is in Manhattan. And we parked our bus in New Jersey. You spend about 30 to 45 minutes on the subway going from New Jersey into New York City. What we do is we actually pull into the station where the World Trade Center used to be. Well, the replacement center is there now. But you pull in, and there's a memorial. It's a really moving experience to ride that subway, some of the rubble left there, because it's basically a graveyard. There is a flashy ball that's sitting up here. It's really cool. Thank you, Lisa. I might grab it and start playing with it. Somebody might get mad at me if I did that. But you subway, you get on the subway and go in. So we loaded up, got on the bus. Got to New Jersey, got to the subway station. Kathy, she's done this several times with this kind of group, size group. 40 kids, getting into the city. I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little anxious about this. And so we get on the platform. The train stops. The doors slide open. And we're lined up on the platform, getting in like 2 or 3 cars together. And so we kind of coordinate. Okay, everybody on. Get on the train. And then all of a sudden, I hear Kathy yelling, No! Get off! Get on the train! Wrong train! Get off! And so we grab the kids around, we get off the train, and we get off. We're all lined back up. The doors close. As the doors close, the car goes by. And one of the kids that I love dearly, he's not always the best listener. He's not always the best behaved kid. His name was David Brower. And Susan and I just love David so much. One of our favorites. But again, not always the best listener. Not always the best behaved kid. And the car goes by. And David is just looking out the window with his mouth hanging open. And we watch David. It turns out it was David and a handful of our kids taking off the wrong train. And the problem was, Kathy's done this so many times. I don't know how this happened to this day. 20 years of a mystery that we still haven't figured out. We were on the wrong side and the train was heading in the opposite direction of New York City. So here we stood, and there go these kids. No leaders. None of the adults are on the train with them. And I'm just thinking, how am I going to explain this to their parents? Their pastor, their child in New York. And I was panicking. I have never prayed that much in an hour-long space in my entire life. I was praying, Lord, you gotta work a miracle, because we had no plan. It turns out. We had no plan for this. This had never happened. And I mean, what are they going to do? Do the kids know what to do? And thankfully, David, the one who rarely listened, wasn't the best behaved kid, one of our favorites. David got those kids together and said, "Hey guys, we should probably get off at the next stop and just see if somebody shows up for us." And so they did. They got off, and an hour later, just for those of you who are still your hearts beating a little heavily because you might be planning on sending your kid on a mission trip with our group this summer. An hour later, we had everyone back together. And wow, what an answer to prayer. It worked out. And you better believe. After that point, we had a plan in place. Every trip, if we get separated, here are the things you do, right? We started to plan. Sometimes when we plan in reverse, circumstances can follow. It's when we plan ahead that we have peace. Because just a couple years later, something similar happened. We were all heading in the right direction, but we didn't all get on the train together. We had a larger group. But the folks who got on the train, they knew what to do to wait for the rest of the group, so that we could reunite and be together in the city, divide up into our smaller groups with adult supervision, and visit the places we wanted to go in New York City. And everybody had a different plan, but we planned ahead for the future. See, we got to do that. When it comes to faith, when it comes to life, some of us have stepped on the wrong train. Some of us are heading the wrong direction. You might feel like you're on the right train. And it may not feel like it's the wrong train. It's not a bad train. It might even be a spiritual train. And it has elements of spiritual things. But some of us are on the wrong train. And we're missing where God wants to meet us and work in us and through us. We're missing where God wants to work and unite us as His people. We've maybe jumped on the train and gone this way, and it wasn't a bad train at all. There's actually some great things in that direction. But the rest of the people are following Jesus on this train. And we missed it. There's a story in the New Testament about Jesus when he was 12 years old. And his family had come to Jerusalem for the Passover. They had traveled in a caravan to Jerusalem together. The Passover, because that's what you would do as a faithful Jew. You would come to Jerusalem for the Passover feast. And Jesus and his family had done that. And maybe you know the story. Joseph and Mary, they gathered their family in this caravan, and they just assumed, hey, this is a kid. He's with us. He knows where to go. He knows what to do. Jesus never does anything wrong. He's just such a great kid. He's always there. And Joseph and Mary took that for granted. And a day later, they figured out our son is not with us. They had already traveled far away from the city. They're like, oh no. We lost God's son. What do we do? Can you imagine? I just lost some church members' children. They lost Jesus. Right? So they head back to the city. You remember, if you know the rest of the story, 3 days later, they found Jesus, and he was in the temple. And he was having a conversation with the religious leaders in the temple. And they were amazed. at this 12-year-old understanding. And it's just this great story. And Mary comes along and says, "Didn't you know? We were looking for you. And he said, "Hey, didn't you know? I would be in my father's house about my father's business. Didn't you know that? And he wasn't being disrespectful. He's saying, "Come on, Mom. You know me. I would be about my father's business, my father's house." Joseph and Mary didn't do anything wrong, but they got on the wrong train because Jesus and his father were at work, and they missed it because they got distracted by the routine. Some of us are just heading in the wrong direction. We're on trains that are damaging our life and the lives of the people around us. But some of us are on trains that seem like they're pretty good trains. But we're not on the train that leads us to Jesus in his work. And there's something happening. Jesus is there waiting for you and for me to join him. And we're trusting in the wrong things. We trust a train that we stepped on a train. Once that train starts going, in a lot of cases, there's nothing you can do about it. When those kids got on that train, they submitted to the destination of that train, and it was the wrong destination. And they didn't intentionally submit to the wrong destination. They just got on the wrong train. And there was nothing I could do about it. There was nothing any of our other leaders could do about it. There's nothing those kids could do about it. And that train was taken the wrong way. How do we keep from getting on the wrong train? How do we keep from heading in the wrong direction? You see, because we're not going to just stumble into righteousness by happenstance. We're not going to stumble into life with Jesus by happenstance. We have to be intentional. Look with me. We need a plan. Ahead of time. We had to have a plan ahead of time. That's what got us in trouble in New York City. We need a plan ahead of time. Look with me at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6. It says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that the proper time he may exalt you. Humble yourself. Submit yourself. Submit yourself to the mighty hand of God. Step on that train intentionally. You may not know where it's going exactly. In fact, most of the time you're not. We don't get the itinerary. But humble yourself. Submit. Look at that. Special effects. Submit yourself to Jesus. To his guidance, to the direction of the Holy Spirit, so that at the proper time, God's time, you will be lifted up. You see, when we step into the story with God, He's got us. That's what that verse is saying. He has us when we submit, when we give up what we want. That sometimes might even seem really spiritual. When we give up what we want, and we hand ourselves over to the hand of God. When we jump on the train that's heading for Jesus, you will be lifted up. You will be carried by God Himself into the spaces that He has called you to join His work. So how? How do we do this? Now you might say, I don't feel like I'm heading in the wrong direction. I don't feel like I'm on the wrong train. But I wonder where is your commitment level to the work of Jesus? It might feel really good to be on a train,
that carries you to church
a couple of times a month. That might feel really good.
You might
even be on a train that carries you to church almost every week, or maybe even every week. But are you committed to joining the work of Jesus? Is that the train you're hopping on? Because if it's not, you're on the wrong train. It might feel like it's taking you to the right spaces, but if those spaces aren't where you meet Jesus in his work, then that's not it. You see, the problem with trusting God is that we often get on the wrong train. And we're not really trusting Him. We're trusting ourselves. We're trusting our own intuition. We're trusting our own resources. God says, I've got something better for you. I've got a place I want to meet you, and we're going to do something great together. So a lot of folks, they feel like they're on the right train. But then they wonder, why do I feel so distant from God? Why don't I feel that connection deepening like Pastor Darrell? Why don't when he talks about hearing the voice of God? It's kind of weird to me. I don't know what that means. And I just don't feel like this is powerful as people talk about. That girl got up and gave her testimony, and it was impressive. But that's not for me. I don't have that kind of engagement. I show up. I'm around. But I'm not really connecting with those pieces that we're talking about every week. Maybe that's okay. But here's the thing. You're not on the right train. Transformation isn't beginning to occur in your life. You're not beginning to change. You're not on the right train. If you're not engaging some of those pieces that we talk about. If you're not beginning to hear God's voice, recognize God's voice, and follow God's voice, you're missing the train. You know, a lot of folks they talk about I think I'm a Jesus follower. But then when you look at where they spend their most time, when you look at where they spend most of their resources, it speaks something very different. I just wonder if you would consider where you spend most of your time. Because I think that's a great measure. Of the story. You're joining Jesus in. Where do you spend most of your time? I remember a season where our three oldest were all under 12. And we just really felt like we want to provide our girls all the opportunities that they can have. That's good parenting. That's a good decision. That's wise. We want to give our kids opportunities that we didn't have. And so we were signing them up if they had an interest, if they had an inkling of a gift, if they wanted to be with their friends doing, we signed them up and all kinds of things. We were playing sports, we were doing art stuff. We had kids in plays. Man, it was just we had our three girls just involved in all kinds of things. It was busy, and it got real busy. In fact, so busy that's all we found ourselves doing outside of work and the occasional church activity. And then one day I was driving Susan's Toyota minivan, and I looked down, and man, the mileage on that thing was really high. I thought, wow, how did this happen? And then Susan and I started talking about all the stuff the girls were doing, and we did some math. And she was averaging over 600 miles a week on her Toyota minivan. Now, if you are a traveling salesperson, that's kind of to be expected. If you are a stay-at-home mom with three daughters in a small city of around 50,000 people, you shouldn't be logging 600 miles a week for the entire school year. And we started looking at
and
it.
that
And that
600
600 miles was with
my help.
I was
I was
stepping in where I
stepping in
could. When I would have time away from work, I was stepping in and taking places too. So we were logging probably 700-800 miles a week. Just to get our girls to different places. And we just kind of, God just kind of slammed us in that moment and said, what are you doing? And as we prayed about it, we said, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. We need to really decide. Is this keeping us from joining Jesus as a family? Is this keeping our girls from joining Jesus in spaces? Is this keeping us as church leaders from joining Jesus in spaces where He wants to do His work in us, through us, and with us? And so we started making some decisions, and we decided there were certain things that weren't going to happen. Our girls, from that point forward, they could choose one activity a semester outside of school to be involved. And there's still 3 kids, so it's pretty busy. But we started saying, you can do one thing a semester, and we'll support it. We'll be there for it. But that one thing has to provide us with relational opportunities that we can be gospel intentional with as a family. Where we're going to be building relationships with the intention of inviting people into the life of Jesus. Inviting people who don't have a church, inviting them to church. Building relationships, earning the right to be heard in the midst of the lives of other people. And if it didn't provide that, it probably wasn't what God wanted us to do. And so we started drawing lines, and we started deciding that only gospel intentional things are what we're going to invest in, and especially when it comes to the church and how we serve the church. I was the pastor. I was the pastor of the church. We had to start investing in a way that would get us on the right train. That would take our kids towards Jesus. And I just wondered, how do you spend your time? How do you spend your time with your kids? Maybe you're not a parent. What are you investing in personally? Maybe you're a grandparent or a single parent, or maybe you're just single, and you want to know what is it that God's calling me to? How do I get on this train Daryl's talking about? How do I make my way to the train that's heading in the right direction? Well, I think there's a great story in Scripture. There's several, but there's a great one in Scripture that we've looked at before, and I just want to take a look at a couple aspects of it today. It's the story of Daniel. Don't you just love the book of Daniel? I love the book of Daniel. There are some crazy, cool, miraculous moments in the book of Daniel. I mean, so there's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Remember that story? They get thrown into because they're trying to be faithful to God over faithfulness to the king. They get thrown into a fiery furnace. You heard that story? It's this huge oven. And the oven was roasted so hot when they were thrown in. The guys who threw them in basically melted. Just because they got close to it. The guys who actually put them in there melted. The three of them, these followers of God, these men who were intimately connected to God, those three were saved. And when they pulled them out of the furnace, they were unscathed. People had melted, putting them in there. But they came from within the furnace. Came out, not a scratch, not a burn on them. They didn't even smell like smoke. You ever been sitting around a campfire? Man, you can't wear that jacket again for weeks because it reeks of campfire. Now, I happen to like the smell of campfire, so I don't care. But the people around me probably not looking to smell that when they're at the restaurant, or you stink for days. These guys didn't even smell of smoke. That's a pretty powerful moment, isn't it? And then there's that moment of Daniel in the lion's den. The Babylonians. They trained their lions for this. They trained them for this. These were wild lions that had very little contact with people. Just the keeper would throw raw meat in, pounds and pounds of raw meat to feed them every day. And then when it came time for someone to be thrown in the lion's den for punishment, they wouldn't feed them. So they would grow hungry. Well, see, they had been trained that whatever we throw in there, that's your supper. So when they threw a person in there, those lions knew, there's our meal. This one's moving, but that makes it a little more interesting, a little more fun. Right? Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. Spent the entire night in the lion's den. And just like his three friends came out of the furnace, he came out of the lion's den unscathed. And God was glorified. What a great book! Right? This is a great filled with great stories. Well, I think we ought to take a look at how that book begins. See, the Babylonians came to Jerusalem, and they were conquering everything in their path. They were about growing the Babylonian kingdom, expanding their kingdom. And they came to Jerusalem, and they knocked down the walls. They took out the army, and they destroyed the temple. Because if they would destroy what was most important to the people in that area, they would have them. And so they destroyed the temple of God. They took the holy relics in the temple of God, and they put it in pagan temples. I mean, how insulting! How discouraging! Certainly, it would look on the outside looking in. It looked like God lost. God abandoned his people. And then to top it off, they took all of their most gifted and bright children. They took the best of the next generation and enslaved them and took them out of Jerusalem. They robbed the people of Jerusalem, their next generation. They robbed their future. See, that was a strategy. They took them back to their capital city. Long way away. It's not something you could just run away one night and get home. They were a long way from home. And they had this strategy. They had a strategy where they would begin to teach those children. They would begin to indoctrinate them with their own culture. And they would do that for 3 years. And at the end of that 3 years, what they did with those kids? Those gifted, intelligent, the best of the best. They would empower them to serve in their government. Now that is a genius plan of taking over a people. It's ingenious. Because it works. They had figured something out. The king knew there were certain things you did. You're going to win this. Your victory is going to have longevity. So let's take a look. Daniel chapter 1, starting at verse 3. Daniel chapter 1, starting at verse 3. Then the king commanded Ashpenaz, the chief eunuch, to bring some of the people of Israel, both of the royal family and of the nobility, youths without blemish. They were not only smart and from the right bloodlines, but good-looking kids, bringing the best of the best. Of good appearance, skillful in all wisdom, endowed with knowledge. These were educated kids. Understanding, learning, and competent to stand in the king's palace. And teach them the literature and language of the Chaldeans, the people of Babylon. This was their language. You teach someone the language, and you begin that journey into absorbing their culture. Right? And that's what they did. They brought them in. They brought them in the language of the Chaldeans. They brought them in and did these things. And so as they pulled all of this off, certain things began to happen. First off, they wanted them to eat from the king's table. Is there another verse that follows this one? Nope. Let's go back. I'm sorry. I moved you ahead. They began to ask them to eat from the king's table. They began to ask them to drink from the king's wine bottle. All of these things that had been committed to pagan gods. And so they began to indoctrinate them with the culture. So change the way someone thinks will change the way someone believes. Change the way someone believes, and you'll change the way someone behaves. You'll change the way they live, and that's what the king understood. We're going to change these things in this next generation. We're going to make them ours because people can be influenced. And they're living in the palace. They're eating from the king's table. They're getting the best of the best. They are considered the best of the best. They're calling them the best of the best, and they're giving them the best of the best. And guess what? We as humans get sucked in by that, don't we? It's attractive, sexy. I think we even see that in churches. The sexy churches are the ones that suck people in, aren't they? Right? But are they on the right train? I don't know. Maybe they are. Are we on the right train? Are we heading in the direction of the work of Jesus? And are we joining him there? That's the question. So this next generation, are they stepping in with God, or are they stepping into the culture of the Chaldeans? Are they stepping into the culture of the Babylonians? See, we must decide ahead of time. We must have a plan ahead of time. Are we going to submit to living under the mighty hand of God? Are we just going to waver and splash around? Remember last week? Splash around in the culture of this world. Who is influencing you? Are you influenced by the mighty hand of God? Are you influenced by the culture of this world? That's interesting. We might say one thing, but there's a story being told. There's a story being told through our actions. This is going to be one of those moments where I'm about to say something that might sting a little bit for some of you. We have the most amazing group of people who call us their tribe. We have some of the most gifted people I've done ministry with probably 25 years full-time ministry. We have some of the most gifted and amazing people in our tribe. But do you know? Over the last 30 days, when it comes to commitment to this tribe, really following the last 30 days, only 50 people out of the 500 plus who call us their tribe. Only 50 people have given to this ministry financially in the last 30 days. Right around 50. I looked it up. Right around 50 have given to this ministry over the last 30 days. And so 9 months ago, we cleaned up our database. People who no longer live in the area, people who had passed away, people who made it clear to us that they didn't want this to be called their tribe anymore. Some folks have done that. We took all of those names out of the database. And we had a little over 300 people. That was 9 months ago. Just a little over 300 people. And then we introduced the app, and we got you people to sign up. New people have come, and we've been getting a lot of visitors. And now, in our database, 9 months later, we have over 500 names. 500 names. Isn't that awesome? That's something to celebrate. We went from a little over 300 to a little over 500. In 9 months. People who would call us their tribe. People who signed up on the app and want to communicate, find out what's going on. But a little over 500 people in the last 30 days, only around 50 have given to this ministry. Might call us your tribe. But are we really your tribe? Now, okay. I know some of you. He's talking about money. Here it is. All those preachers, they just love talking about money. Forget about the money. Because this is even more challenging. Only around 40 people have been serving in the last 30 days. Folks, that's not even 10% of our people. That's not even 10%. You know, so it makes me ask the question: What has the most influence over your life? Are you under the hand of God? Are you under the hand of the culture of this world? Where are you in that? Because if you're under the hand of God, it looks like a life that's transforming. It looks like a life that's becoming more and more committed to joining Jesus in His work. There are challenges to trusting God. There are problems with trusting God. But this obstacle can be overcome when we hop on the right train together. When we plan. When we start intentionally stepping ahead of time in the right direction. There's no such thing as sorta following Jesus. But we've bought into that lie as the church in America today that we can sorta follow Jesus. You wouldn't dare expect to lose weight if you sorta dieted, right? Go on that diet, you starve yourself all day long, and then you eat a half a gallon of ice cream at night. Man, I just don't know. Why am I not losing weight? Right? You know, and you wouldn't expect to lose weight. Even if you starve yourself all day long and ate a half a gallon of ice cream every night, you know you're going to gain weight, not lose weight. Right? So we don't expect to sorta diet. We don't expect to sorta work out. And get in shape, right? You can't. If you work out for 5 hours one day a month, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to get in shape, right? We know that. So why do we sorta try to be the people of God? We sorta follow Jesus. You know, I show up for church. I might even be one of those people every now and then who are giving. Let me tell you something. Those 50 people are not just sort of giving. Those 50 people are carrying this ministry of over 500 people. They're carrying it. And their generosity. What if the rest of us decided to join them? In giving, serving. Can you imagine the impact that would begin to happen? How God would use that in our community and in this world? I'm not disappointed. I'm excited about how much we can grow into the mission of Jesus. I'm excited about what this year holds. As more and more join in that story. There's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to get on the right train. Crisis comes in those who follow Jesus. When crisis comes, anxiety wells up. Those who sort of follow Jesus, panic wells up. Distance wells up. God feels so far away. But when I am fully engaged in the life that Jesus invites me to live with Him, when I'm growing in that, when I'm becoming more and more He called me to be, what He created me to be, when I'm engaging that, there's peace. There's opportunity. Instead of a problem, all of a sudden, I get excited what God's going to do. What God can do. Because there are opportunities for the Holy Spirit. And so we engage what He's created us to be, what He's created us to do. Where are you investing? What train are you getting on? I mean, so many people put their trust in this temporary world and its culture. We put our trust in people who will never meet our needs. But God can always be trusted. God will always meet your needs. God will never let you down. He is always on His throne. always on his throne. And he is invited to join his son Jesus in this life, to be empowered by the Holy Spirit. To live into powerful moments with Him, to be a part of not our lives changing together, but changing this world, changing our city. Are we going to join Him? Some of us need to get on the right train. So that we're all headed in the direction together towards Jesus. How do we get there? That's the question. And here's the answer. There's one verse in the whole book of Daniel that sums up the entire book. That sums up this powerful story that God tells in and around the life of this young man. As we follow him from being a young man in captivity all the way to being an old man. Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. When he was invited to eat the king's food, to drink the king's wine. Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the king's food or with the wine that he drank. Therefore, he asked the chief of the eunuchs to allow him not to defile himself. He made a choice. He resolved. He intentionally before getting in the mix of being on the wrong train, he intentionally made a choice. That's what we need to do. We have a choice to make. You get to choose which train you step on. And if we are intentional, and if we are stepping together as the church, if we're stepping together as the church, then we're most likely going to get on the wrong train. I mean, on the right train. We're most likely going to get on the right train as the church together. So are you stepping with people? I can tell you. There's around 40 people, at least, who are stepping on the right train. Gather around them. Gather around us and step with us on the train. And serve together. I mean, we got a great opportunity this week. This week we've got a super opportunity to serve together. Single moms mourning out. There are more single mothers in East Des Moines. Our land than any other area of Greater Des Moines. There are more single moms in our land than anywhere else in the greater part of this city. And we're going to serve them this Saturday. It's not too late. It's not too late to start jumping on the right train. Start taking some right steps. And all you got to do, Elizabeth Freeze, give them away. All you got to do is talk to this lady right here. She can help you do that. It's not too late. You might not get a T-shirt, or you might not get the right color T-shirt that you want. But there's probably a T-shirt for you. But there's definitely a space for you to serve. So I just want to invite you. Join this tribe and step on the right train in the right direction. This is an opportunity to do that. As the people of God. To predetermine, to choose as Daniel did. You know, there's some things that some choices that I've made in life intentionally to make sure I'm stepping on the right train. I just want to think about this week. One choice you can make. One step you can take. Just one. To start heading towards the right train. The one that's heading towards the work of Jesus. Just one choice. Think about that. That choice is different for everybody in this room. One of the choices I made a long time ago was to seek God through His Word. To daily seek God through His Word. Do you know that over 90% of people who call themselves Jesus followers don't even open a Bible? They don't even open a Bible. They might do. I'm not counting Sundays. You might bring your Bible to church and open it when the preacher's reading something. Right? We've eliminated that temptation for you here. You have to look at it on your phone and here. Right? But are you looking to God's Word on a daily basis? I'm not telling you I'm perfect in that. Your pastor is not a perfect man. But I seek to engage the Word of God every day. I seek to pray and spend time listening every day. And that keeps me pointed to the right train. Susan and I made a decision a long time ago that we were going to tithe. Every bit of income that flows through our house, that God provides for us. We decided a long time ago, not just 10% of that, but whatever we hear God telling us over that. Right now, we give about 20% of our income to this church and to other ministries. And it's not about oh hey look at us. It's about God. God can be trusted. He can be trusted. And that trust is what grows our connection to Him. And so these are choices we've made to keep us on the right train. That we would be on mission with Jesus. That we would be looking at the needs of others as an opportunity to meet them in that need with the gospel of Jesus. So I just challenge you to take one step. Make one choice. Because this world, the culture of this world, it says promote yourself. Jesus says deny yourself. What choice can you make? Where you would deny yourself instead of promote yourself. This world says take what you can get. Jesus says it's better to give than to receive. This world says get even. Don't let them get away with that. Jesus says love your enemy. Turn the other cheek. This world says pursue everything you have to make sure you're happy. Jesus just says pursue holiness. Pursue holiness, and your life will become full. What step are you going to take? And if you don't know where to start, you don't know what step to take. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus do? That's all you have to do. Not what would Jesus do, but what did Jesus do? What did He do? Just look at Jesus' life. He showed us. He showed us those steps to take. Find a step that Jesus took. And see, how can I apply that to my life? What did Jesus do? Pray about that. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to you one choice you can make this week that will step you towards the right train. I'm going to pray for our tribe and the opportunities we have. And I'm going to ask the praise team to come back up. And they're going to close us out in a song that's all about what Jesus does. And maybe it's going to inspire you to think about what He's calling you to do. This one choice. So pray with me. God, thank you so much for the opportunity to be the pastor of such an amazing tribe of people. Lord, I thank you for the love that continues to grow in the midst of your people. A love that reflects your love for us. God, I thank you that we can step on the right train. We can join you in your work, in your Son Jesus, in the power of your Spirit, working in us and through us in the lives of others. God, I just pray that you would continue to show us the steps to take. I thank you for answered prayers right now. We're asking, what step can I take this week? I thank you for showing, revealing, speaking into the hearts of your people. And I pray for the faithfulness to pursue each one of those calls in the hearts of this room. It's in Jesus' powerful name we pray. Amen.